Hi, so here we are, another episode of Becoming Cosmically You podcast. And today we have Natalie who's going to share a story with you of how she is here and how she's coming to help you beings on this planet Earth. So over to you, Natalie.
Hi, Louise. Thank you for inviting me to your podcast. It's great to be here. And thank you for this opportunity to share my story, how I ended up being a psychologist, who I am. So right now I'm working in psychology field in CBT, and I am focused on helping to overcome addictions because this is where I came from. So I had started my life as um, depressed person. So my all my feelings were deep inside of me. I was growing up in Moscow, Russia, and the society there is really doesn't let you express your true self. I think
Mm,
it's still like this until this day. So you have to like really follow the rules and regulations in order to fit in the society. So this is how I grew up. We had to like act a certain way and be the certain way. We did not have a chance to become something creative, unfortunately. So I was actually growing up as a creative child. I was interested in making music, writing novels, and I was making garments. And so I wasn't into this type of creativity, but my parents were both professors of economics. They were teaching in a University of Economics, and they wanted me to be like them, to
mm,
follow their steps and to study economics. So this was their vision for my life. And when I was trying to, talk to my father that I wanted to be a journalist and I want to travel the world, he told me that first I have to become an economist, and and then I can be whoever I want, like later in life. So this
wow.
later, yeah. So basically, I lived most of my life in somebody else's role, and this
Mm,
led me to being very like vulnerable to what was going on inside of me because I didn't have my path. I didn't follow my path, so I was just doing what other people told me. And so I studied economics. I got a corporate job. I was quite successful in it, and I was actually traveling for business inside Europe. And it was a good life comparing to the other people around me, but I was still missing something. I was really missing the connection and spiritual connection, I think. So I started researching books, and fell in love with The Secret book. And so I started doing these affirmations, meditations, and I was just dreaming of another life where I am free to do what I want, to travel the world on my own terms, to be financially free, to express myself in different ways. So I hated my 9 to 5 job. And so I actually manifested that life.
wow.
Yes, but and not maybe not through my own creativity, but I manifested my future husband, my partner.
Nice.
Yes, and he was in Russia at the time, looking to open a consulting business for the foreigners who wanted to invest in Russia. And it was before the sanctions, before the wars, so it was quite a good time. And so we met by chance, like almost on the street, and we started talking. And he told me about his plans. And at this time, I would do anything just to stop working, in my job because I was so bored. And my dream was to get out of Russia, go live in some country where I could be free. I didn't have to be, very formal like everyone in Russia. So it was a great opportunity for me to do that, for an escape. So of course I took this opportunity, and so I worked with my partner in this business, and it was quite successful. It was very successful. We made a lot of money because there was so much demand for the foreigners to invest in Russia in those years. So it was really good, and I worked mostly online, and I was free to travel. So I lived a little bit of in different countries. I tried living in some countries in Europe, in Asia. Um, it was like really nice until 2014, when the Ukrainian problem has started. Russia overtook the Crimea, and the sanctions began. So we had to like leave Russia, and we started looking for a place to go. So we checked like in Spain, we didn't really like it there, and we decided to move to Miami, Florida, because well, his dream was to live in the United States, and my dream was to live close to the palm trees. So we decided to go there, and we moved there. We opened the business there, and it was quite good, but not as like successful as before. And also, I was like kind of missing my family because it was far from Europe, and I couldn't really fit in the society in Miami because there are a lot of people from Latin America, and they're fun, they're like parties and both parties, like beautiful life, but it was like a little bit shallow for me, I would say, because
Mm,
people came from like very poor countries like Colombia, Cuba, and they had like a certain level of education. I would say they were not like very spiritual. They were religious. I would say like like they will go to church on Sundays, but not really spiritual. So I was like still missing something, and I was disconnecting more and more from my partner because he was completely different. He was not spiritual at all. He was materialistic, like to buy a nice house, like to have like I don't know 2, 3 cars, to have a lot of designer clothes, all this. And so in the beginning it was fun and nice because I didn't have that before. But when I got all that, all the Gucci, all the Pradas, all the
mm,
BMWs, whatever you want, Porsche, whatever. So when I got that, I understood doesn't bring me joy.
mm.
So like it's nice for a week after you buy it,
Yeah.
and then you just want something else. So it's
Mm,
like all the time. So I became addicted to shopping. So I would just like visit like outlets and malls and like buy more and more and more things, order things online. So I started spending like a lot of money on shopping, and also I started to have a drinking problem
mm,
because my depression just popped up because when I was like busy making money and building life, I didn't have time for that. But when I was already like wealthy, I didn't have to like work a lot. I had so much free time, and I found myself like miserable because I was alone. I couldn't connect with anyone. I had all the money in the world, but I was like tired of traveling alone because my
mm.
husband was all the time working or like with his business partners or traveling on business meetings. So I was alone and miserable and drinking and and spending money on just like entertainment, clothes, and restaurants.
Yeah.
So I started like searching more into spirituality. I read so many different books, and I started following spiritual leaders and trying to get like their wisdom. And at that point I realized that maybe we're not meant to be with my husband, and we separated. So I started
Mm,
living alone, and because I wanted to entertain myself, I started going to clubs and parties. Also, I was thinking like I want to meet someone else who is more like me, and we can explore the spirituality together. So
mm,
with this, I fell into the drug culture because in
mm.
Miami there is a lot of that going on, and there is a lot of drugs going on in clubs. So unfortunately, I fell into the trap. So I started taking drugs, and I was still drinking. So it was really like messing up my life. So I tried to do. I tried to be spiritual, but it was like all based on drugs. So I was like started having like weird, crazy ideas, and I would try to do some businesses, but and charity, but I was not concentrating because of the influence of drugs and alcohol. I was not like really focused, so it was not going well, and it did not bring me the fulfillment that I was looking for. So it was really not going well for me in my life. So at that point, I started like having like just using more and more drugs on a daily basis. And I was really like desperate for a sign, some kind of sign that would show me like what should I do next in my life, because I was not happy with anything that I had. Like I worked so much for that, and when I got all that, it was just such a big disappointment. So I really like, and I wasn't even religious, so I didn't have anywhere to turn to, like absolutely nothing. So one day I had a spiritual experience. It's hard for me to understand. Was it like what happened like in my brain, or was I under the influence of drugs and alcohol? But still, it was like so special, and I still remember it until now, and I don't remember much what happened at the time. So it really like changed my life. So at some point I saw like the world was coming to an end, like the end of the world. So I'm like in my head there was like a flood because heavy rain started, and I just realized that it was like the end of the world, and that's it. So I was living in a building, and I just like started running to the top of the building, to the roof to come out and to see what's happening. And on my way there, I saw like a hall, a corridor, and two doors there. And so somehow I felt that I need to enter one of this like rooms. So I went there, and I closed the door behind me, and I saw like an empty room and a table and one chair, and there was like windows with glass there. And I started seeing like light letters or symbols, like in Aramaic or something. I don't know, something like Arabic or Jewish, that type. I don't know what exactly it was. So I was just like so surprised and shocked to see that. But then I realized that probably I'm dead, and I'm seeing that. So I realized this was like, that's it, my life is over. So I am already like that. And this is like now is going to be like my judgment day. That is going to now it's going to decide my destiny, where I'm going next. So I realized my life was over, and I'm like, but oh my God, but I didn't do anything in life, I haven't done. I'm sure, like I'm on the age of something like a huge discovery, and I want to do something in my life. I want to make a difference in the world. I just need another chance. So I just got on my knees, and I started to pray, like please God, give me another chance of life, and I will make sure that I will lead a different life. I will not do drugs anymore, and I will just I will be clean, and I will help people also. Just give me a sign how I can do it, because I don't know. I'm trying, but I don't know how to do it. So after my prayer, so all the signs disappeared, and like the sky cleared, the rain stopped, and I was like back to my consciousness, and I just walked out of this room, and I went back to my apartment, and I was just like sitting there trying to realize what just happened. Was it like real? Was it my imagination? Was it hallucination? And so I didn't know what it was, but it really changed my life. So from like next day, I Googled the churches around me, and I found a Presbyterian church in Miami. So I went there. I sat on during the mass, and like the pastor was talking, and I really connected. He was saying something And I just really like, I was like crying. I remember when he was talking, and I was so touched by the words. And there were Bibles there. And when I was leaving, I took one and I went to the pastor asking if I can buy this Bible. So he told me that I could just keep it. And so
Mm.
and I was so happy. So I came home with this Bible. I started reading the Bible, and so I really found like a relief in reading this, in like reading the story of Jesus Christ, and just like connecting with this history, with this spiritual stories that I found there. That it really helped me to overcome my crisis and to find strength and stop the drugs and stop the alcohol. And little by little, I was trying to overcome my depression, trying to find my place in the world, and trying to find how I can help other people. So
Mm.
it wasn't a short journey, it was a journey of several years. I tried working like with churches, I tried doing some charity work, and in the end, several years later, there was a COVID pandemic beginning, and I was at the time in Moscow with my grandmother who had dementia. So I just realized I couldn't leave her alone, and I stayed with her. And I found a university in Russia that was offering psychological education online. So I joined the university, and so during pandemic, I studied psychology, and it
Mm.
really helped me to understand what's going on with my grandmother. Because it was like really hard times also, and it helped me to understand what's going on in my own head and why it's happening. So basically, I did like a self therapy. I
Mm.
overcame my depression, my anxiety, all my all the destructive thoughts that I had in my head, and I really transitioned into becoming a therapist, because I started taking like clients online. First, I worked for free just to do the practice to help people. So yeah, so this is how I ended up being a psychologist. So it was like it started from my own spiritual journey, and it led me to like looking for a way how I can help other people in their journey. And so this is it. Here I am now. Uh, thank you for listening to my long story.
Wow. Wow. That's beautiful. I love your story. Um, my team want me to share a few messages around what happened in that room, if you'd be open to hearing it. Because obviously you still have some doubt whether it was real or whatnot. Basically what happened, you were given a chance to reflect on your life in that room. Yeah, all the signs that you saw were actually activations, light language activations that are relevant to you. And so within that moment, you were given these activations, but you were also given a life or death situation, right? And we see this a lot in our work. A lot of people step into their gifts or their path when they've had a near death experience. Now, some people experience this near death experience physically, either they get, hit by a car or they're in a physical 3D accident. But sometimes people experience these near death experiences in a vision, like you did, or they jumped on a timeline or in their dream space. So, what happened to you is very beautiful. You were given an activation in light language, which is relevant for you only, right? And then you were given the decision, like live or die, because the other thing you have to remember is that we are working on timelines, right? And there is another version of you, Natalie, working on that timeline, and you're still addicted. You're still addicted to alcohol and drugs, and you've got that lifestyle. And there's a timeline now. And what happened is you made the decision to jump to a timeline that's got a higher frequency. And that's what happened.
Wow. Yes, yes, I can feel it. That it was exactly like you're saying.
Mm,
And thank you
beautiful.
and thank you for giving me this, because I try to share what happened with people, But I was, it was not taken well, so I just stopped. So I never shared it with anyone since that year. Basically, I didn't talk about it, and I didn't talk about it on other podcasts either. So, like, thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Ah, you're so welcome. We love channeling and unraveling things and making things clearer. The other thing my team want to just touch on as well is this fact that, you had the life from the outside, right? You had the money, you had the fast cars, you had the husband that you thought you always wanted, and yet you still said you weren't happy. And like, out in the spiritual world and in what we do, I think it's absolutely okay to have money goals and want got to make sure that your heart's in it as well, right? And it feels like you discovered on your journey that what you thought you wanted wasn't actually what you wanted, and that's a really fascinating point that my team really wanted to tell again, and just tell people, look, the main goal shouldn't be just money, it should be fulfillment and happiness. And like you've experienced, Natalie, live in your own truth and who you are and align to your story. And now you get to help other people based on what you've already been through. Like that is empowering. It's
Yes, yes, that
beautiful.
really is. Yeah, thank
Yeah. And like, what would you kind of say to someone who's maybe listening to this and they're kind of stuck in a similar situation to you, to what you were in, depressed, anxious, you had the shopping addiction. And some people will probably say, well, it can't be the worst thing in the world because, you had all the money and you got to go out shopping, like, boo-hoo, Natalie. But for you, it was probably causing you more grief, right? Collecting these things that didn't mean anything to you, just the energy of that. So I'd like to hear about that. Like, what would you say to people who are in your position, who were in your position?
Mhm. I would advise to everyone to find the purpose in life. A lot of women that were around me find the purpose in children,
Mm,
bringing children, but that's beautiful, but that shouldn't be the only purpose for a woman, because when you put all that, all your hopes and desires into children, you're kind of you're not helping them to be themselves. You're actually putting all these expectations in them, and it will be hard for them to meet your expectations. You should
mm,
have your own purpose. And for a woman, I believe that educator, it's the most beautiful thing that any woman can be, because women are they're gentle and they're designed to share what they have. Unlike men, they're like strong and they're protected. So
mm,
I believe that every woman can find her purpose in being an educator in her like group, or in her town, in her country. Like, do something that is helping like other people to get the knowledge, because when I was wealthy, I made a lot of money. So like I helped all my like family, I helped all my friends with money.
mm,
So and I just help people with money, but that because I thought I should help them, but they did not make me happy, because this money, like once you give someone money, that's it. The person like basically forgets, So
mm,
because like once they use the money, that's it. It's gone. And it's
mm,
it's not like something like lasts forever, unfortunately. Although some of them, they're still grateful to me for this, but some turned their backs on me, as soon as the money was spent, and I really hated the situation. So I thought to myself, I don't want to help people with money. I want to
mm,
help people with wisdom, with knowledge, with advice, like whatever, but something that is timeless, and then they can always use it in their lives. It makes much bigger value than just helping people, with financially. So this is my advice, like find the purpose and something in the educational field.
I love that. Yeah, my team is saying like it's the passage from the Bible where you teach people how to fish rather than giving people the fish, you're giving people the tools. And I think that is like cosmically what the plan is for the whole collective this year actually. It's to people, women, transformational coaches, people who are helping other people, the platform to share their story. In that, within that story will be so much healing for that person sharing, but then also that person listening as well. We used to be really good as beings to share stories around like fires and all get together and help each other, whereas now it's kind of a bit disjointed. So I think that's spot on, like using the skills that you have to help other people is just so beautiful. So we thank you for your service here. It's amazing to hear, so thank you so much.
Oh, and thank you, Louise, for this conversation. It really made a big difference for me to meet a woman with whom I can share this, and I heard the word of wisdom from you. So I'm really grateful.
You're so welcome. And where can people find you, Natalie, if they want to check out what you do? And I know you've got a book, you said, just stop addiction with cognition.
Mhm. That's right. So I have a website. It's natalimei.com, NATALIMEI.com. So there you can read a little bit about me, about my work, how I do. You can also read the feedback from the clients who I work with, and you can read about my book and read a free chapter from my book. So I just recently finished it in December. The book is called Just Stop Addiction with Cognition. And there I share my tools, which I use during my therapy.
Mm,
So I use it not only for addiction, I use it to people in general who are stuck, who are depressed, and they want to change their life. So
mm,
it's an 8-step system of planning your life ahead. So I believe there are 8 pillars of life, or 8 pillars of happiness. They are physiology, psychology, family, career or occupation, finance, society, um, environment, and spirituality. So
mm,
all those areas are very important. So just like we have 8 planets in our solar system, which are all essential for the equilibrium of our system. The same, these 8 pillars of life are essential for us to have the equilibrium. I believe that every person is like the sun, so we need to fill ourselves with love, and
mm,
when we do, this love will shine and light up all the other planets, all the other people around us. So I teach in my sessions and also in my book how to plan your life in these 8 categories. I recommend for everyone to plan their life until like the end, until the last day, and then also like for the 10 years and for the 5 years and for the next year. And
mm,
always to come back to this planner and to review these goals which you have, because sometimes you start doing something only to realize that it's not for you, which is absolutely okay, because if you don't do it, you will never know if it's for you or it's not for you. Just like for me, I had to go through this materialistic period in my life to realize that it's not for me. I want to be an educator. I don't want to be a financial mogul. It's not for
mm.
me. So all this is on the website, and so please feel free to contact me from the website, and also to purchase my book. I hope it's going to be very helpful for many people.
Beautiful. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. I'm just going to check with my team to see if they've got any other questions for you. Is there anything you want me to ask Natty? No. Okay, they said no. So, are there any other messages you want to share, Natalie, before we wrap up?
Just one more time, I would like to remind people and women especially that happiness starts with self-love. It's the most important thing that we should really cultivate it because many of us are brought up by parents who don't know what love is either because their parents did not teach us. So it's like a generational absence of self-love, which we carry for centuries. And it's really sad to see how many people are seeking the external love and validation. And that's why there are so many addictions, there are so many psychological issues now that we live in the world of abundance, but still so many people are unhappy. So I recommend for everyone to really take care of themselves and to fill this gap of love, not from outside, not from other people, not from material things, but from the love for yourself, for like taking care of yourself.
Yeah, I love that because you can't fill from an empty cup. You have to give from the overflow, right? That's a really important point. So thank you for sharing that with our audience. And I just want to thank our readers and our listeners and our watchers for tuning in to yet another Becoming Cosmically You podcast. So, what we'll do, Natali, is we'll share this podcast and we'll share your links to your book and your website, all the things, so people know where to find you. And I'll just start recording now and then we'll have a little chat. So, thank you so much for being here and all the beautiful work that you're doing to help people through their addictions and realize that self love and how important it is. So, thank you so much.
Thank you, Louise. It was a pleasure being with you. So thank you so much.
Thank you.